So we'll run through it fast because our time is fast spent. Of course, you know that this whole video is for educational purposes. We are not doing it because we just want to, we are doing it to educate our people, because information is power. Information is key. So it's important our people get informed. That's what we're trying to do. Africa, there's the work is referenced on an article written by Tony Nadi on 2nd of September. It said African revolts, overthrowing imposed constitutional arrangements to terminate neo-colonial structures in Africa. African revolts, overthrowing imposed constitutional arrangements to terminate neo-colonial structures in Africa. So we want to give you the neo-colonial, we want to give you the tell you how the neo-colonial structures, how they are related to the imposed constitutional arrangements. For some reason, this, the content of this slide is not showing. I don't know why. I don't know why it's not showing, but okay. That means maybe there's a delay. Okay, we'll continue. Whether it shows or not, we'll just continue. So say, what is constitution? What does constitution mean? What does constitution mean? Constitution is union arrangement, the structure. So when you hear constitution, we're not talking about just the written book. So whether it's written or not written, is the union arrangement. That is when you hear the constitution, and Ninas is making noise about constitution, is the arrangement, the structure, that system that they imposed on our people. So whether we are talking about the Boer imposed segregation order of 1910, by which the apartheid constitution of South Africa was imposed, that's an example of constitution. That's in South Africa. We were there. We fought apartheid with them. That's what was going on. It was the apartheid constitution. They set up the system, but they have to put it in a documentation and their whole arrangement, that apartheid arrangement that you are fighting and singing. Bring back Mandela. Bring back Nelson Mandela. Bring her back to meet Winnie Mandela. All that thing. You remember, some of you, when you were small, you were hearing all those songs, all those fights and everything. That's what was going on. They were fighting against that system to bring it down, because it was the chain holding the South African people down. Are we talking about the December 1913 British order in council, the colonial decree, by which the Nigerian Union was imposed via the amalgamation of January 1, 1919? We are just showing you this. The slide is not, the content is not showing, so that's why I just left it on this picture. But just pay attention, please, and then we'll continue. Or are we talking about the Colonial Pact of France, the one that they imposed on the Francophone countries of West and Central Africa? Is the same constitution we are talking about. Or we are talking about Decree number 24 of May 25, 1999, by which Abdul Salam Abubakar, the so-called 1999 constitution, imposed colonialism on Nigeria. Is the same thing we are talking about. Is the same constitution. So when you hear constitution, you will not think it's just to go and bring the paper and write another paper. That's not what it is. It's the arrangement, the entire system. Of course, some, when they finish, they will write it in a paper. Some, they will not write it in a paper. But that structure, the person that said, oh, that this is how they have to put Nigeria, we tie this one together, tie this, all those things they did, break them into 36 states, all those things they did, is the constitutional arrangement. That's the structure. It has rendered our people powerless and incapacitated. What is common to all these structures that we're talking about, all these constitutional arrangements? What is common? Colonialism, neo-colonialism. That is what is common. That you are not going to be in charge of your life and your destiny. That's what the whole structure is all about. They will tie your hands and you will not be in charge of your destiny. Remember what we used to tell us all the time about this man called this Fulani man. They say Sir Amado Bello. It should not be called Sir Amado Bello. But he said something interesting. He said, the new nation called Nigeria should be an estate of our great-grandfather Uthman Danfodio. We must ruthlessly prevent a change of power. We use the minorities of the North, he was talking about the middle belt then, as willing tools. Now we have more willing tools. The politicians, your brothers and sisters, all the people holding on to that 1999 constitution are the willing tools. So they will use them as willing tools. And the South, the entire South, whether you're Yoruba, Ishekiri, Ijo, Igbo, all of you, has conquered territory and never allow them to rule over us and never allow them to have control over their future. This is somebody's thoughts. So that's why we say that all of those constitutions, what they have in common, these examples we gave to you, what they have in common is that they are colonial structure, neo-colonial structure. When people shouted about colonialism, they said, okay, let's give them freedom. It's not freedom. They just gave you flag freedom and switched it to neo-colonialism. So it continued. So in neo-colonialism, you will not see the white man in your space. You will see your own brother, your own sisters. They are puppets. Those politicians and church leaders are their puppets to the colonial monsters. So the colonial monsters stepped aside and brought your brothers and sisters, so that when you look, you say, has the white man not left? Who is doing you? Is it not your brother that is doing you? And some people will say, Igbo people are doing themselves. Yoruba people are doing themselves. It's doing you. The more you look, the less you see. But on this platform, we will make you to see. Open your eyes, open your brain, so that the more you look, the more you will see. I'm not doing you boju. We want you to see clear and you're sapogi. So what they have in common is meant to create master-slave union, like parasitic relationship, like monkey they walk, baboon they chop type of relationship. That's what it's meant to do. They were imposed by the colonial masters for their benefits, not for your own benefits. It's not for you. The system was not put in place for you. It's for the colonial masters. We're telling you what they have in common. Another thing they have in common is that they are against the will of the indigenous peoples. That desire that you have, that thing that you want, you will never get it under their constitution. Another thing is that they hijack and take away the sovereignty of the indigenous peoples. There's no citizenship, no rights. Yes, for our brother Dele, oh, you're not a citizen. You can't be a citizen in a slave camp. You are in a slave camp, the colony of the white man. How can you be a citizen? You're not a citizen. So it means that you don't have citizenship rights. The people, therefore, became slaves in their own ancestral lands. So slave trade was about moving Africans out of Africa to another land. Colonialism is about enslaving you while you are in your own land. Either way, you are still a slave. Whether you are an African continent or you have left, you are still a slave. Anywhere you find yourself, you are still a slave. Even when you are living in America, living in UK, speaking like Oyibo man, you are still, your skin has made you a slave. And that's what the system is all about. So they always have local agents who implement these structures. Yes. Because they can't work alone. Like we told you, neo-colonialism is about having local agents. Colonialism is the white man coming physically. Neo-colonialism is the white man stepping aside, getting local agents and using local agents to do what they have been doing. It has not changed. So Britain and their Fulani counterpart, for those that don't like us to call Fulani, it's not hate speech. It is fact. It's history. So you go and investigate and find out what we're saying. That's why it's the herdsmen that are moving up and down, killing people. It's not Yoruba people, it's not Ijaw people, it's not Ishekri people. They have an assignment. They are no more carrying stick. They are carrying AK-47. Buhari even said it once that he was addressed. He said, my people used to carry stick. Why are they carrying gun? He now started saying, oh, it's from, he gave example that he came from wherever, whatever. On a story, the third story. So Britain and their local agent, the Fulani that they are using, imposed the unitary union on the peoples. That's the constituent components of Nigeria. The people that thought that they had a nation to build, and they came, that they are called constituent members. They came with their lands and their assets. So, okay, let's form a union. Let's work together. But they didn't know that they were deceived. There's no union. It is still colonialism. Nigeria is still a colony, not a union of equal partners. It's master-slave relationship. So it's not yet a union that can work for you. That's what we're talking about. Decolonization. We're talking about removing the entire colonial system. The same thing also happened in France. France and their local agents, they worked across the West and Central African, the so-called Francophone countries. They imposed the pact of continued colonization on the indigenous peoples of West and African, Central African countries. It's the same thing. It did not change. It's not different. It's the same thing. And we have shown you this picture. It says shackles on Africa and Nigeria. First, slave trade, then colonialism, now neo-colonialism by the same people, the West and the Arab. And of course, we told you that, you remember, they use religion, Christianity and Islam. It's just to distract you, to confuse you, to make you think they're bringing something for you, but they are not. So now the slide is back showing, so we'll continue. So the system, they're talking about the neo-colonial structures that they're using. This system of injustice, impunity, and terrorism will eventually get to everyone. Everybody go chop breakfast. You go chop them. It go happen to you. If it not happen to you on top, it go happen to you on the ground. If it not happen to you on ground, it go happen to you on middle. Because you know what? We are all in the same slave camp. So even if you are in the center of the slave camp, you are still a slave. If you are by the side of the slave camp, you are still a slave. Even if you are the head slave, making sure that nobody escapes, you are still a slave. So everybody go chop breakfast. You see this breakfast, everybody go chop them. So for those of you that have been hearing us come here every Saturday as Daughters of Truth to break down the thing to you, and you're saying, no, I don't want to hear. My ear, they pain me. I do booga. Yes, I have brand new cars. At least I'm moving with the big boys. We are rolling. Yes, it's dollar. You know, I just bought. It will still happen to you. Because it will get to you. One day, you might decide to criticize a politician or criticize one big man or one big madam or one big man's wife or one big man's pastor or imam or one big man's mistress or children. Your mouth to go, you know, Nigeria now, their mouth, no, they keep quiet. Your mouth must drive rough. One day you go criticize them. You know what? They will visit you. They will come. That handcuff, you go wear them. So, by the time everybody chop breakfast, then we will realize that we don't have a nation. And that the so-called national cake is poisoned cake. Do you understand? You chop them, you go buy. So the best thing is for us to think of how we want to do this thing. We told you that Nigeria is a rogue state. Only criminals can agree to lead Nigeria in this as presently constituted. Only criminals. There's no genuine person that really wants to help the people that we agree to be the president of Nigeria for 1 second, because there's nothing you can do under the 1999 constitution to make it good for the people. So if you are agreeing to go and be voted for to come and lead under the 1999 constitution, it just tells us that you're a criminal. That's all. Because if you're not a criminal, you will want to remove the shackles off the hands of the people. The thing they used to tie the mouth of the people, you want to remove it first before you begin to lead them. A country with no sanctity of life, a country where we told you there's no equal partnership, you want to come and be the leader? To lead to where? So the world will eventually realize that making a segment of the earth or a country a wasteland and an ungovernable space is counterproductive. It will affect everyone. It will affect everyone. They will eventually understand that colonialism and neo-colonialism is the biggest crime against humanity. Everybody will get to that realization. And so far there's God on this earth, everybody will get to it. Because if it don't happen to you today, it will happen to you tomorrow. So the world will eventually be divided into those who subscribe to justice and equity. Because you cannot tell me that you subscribe to justice and equity, and we are telling you what they did to Africa and what they're still doing to Africans today, and you are not coming out to say, let's go. What do we do to fix it? So eventually we are going to get to the point where everyone on this earth who subscribes to justice and equity will begin to shout against colonialism and neo-colonialism. Otherwise, you saying that you support justice and equity will be fallacy. You're just talking. So the world is going to divide into those who prefer freedom and those who prefer bondage. Those who want to help reverse African unfortunate backward situation. Because it's going to come. Like we said, everybody will chop breakfast. And then we will all, as humanity, collectively agree. The way we agreed and brought down transatlantic slave trade. Everybody became abolitionist. That's the same way we are all going to fight against colonialism and neo-colonialism, because everybody go chop breakfast. And everybody's already chopping the breakfast. Some people say, oh, our border, protect our border. Hey, these people are coming. Immigrants are coming. You've not asked your government what they did that made people, smoking people out of their land, and all of them hanging on top of your wall like refugees. You've not asked your government what they have been doing in Africa. So the world will get to when people, we will see people coming, see social media, they will be everywhere saying, please, let's help Africa. It's not the one that help Africa to give African children $5, $1. No, that's not the help we're talking about. To reverse this evil that has been done on a people, an entire continent. It will divide to those who want to make Africa to begin to operate in full capacity. Because if Africa is operating in full capacity, I'm telling you, the world will change. The world will be a better place. Africa will be a thriving space that can compete with the rest of the world. That is where we're going. That is where we are going. We keep saying, help us to share, invite people, subscribe if you have not, because we have a lot of videos that you need to learn so that you be on the right side of things.